How's it going, everybody? We're going to be taking a look at Task Force Admiral today. This is going to be kind of a one-off video. This is the demo for a game that I have been following the development of for several years now. Been in regular contact with the developers of this, and they're working with Microprose, who is the developer that made games that I grew up with, things like Airborne Ranger, stuff like that. Some of my favorite games from my childhood and teenage years. So I've been playing around with this one a little bit, just enough to get my feet wet. And I thought I'd just give a little preview of it today. This is set in World War II, has to do with controlling carrier air groups and fighting carrier battles. If you're familiar with stories like the Battle of Midway or the Coral Sea, things like that, you have an idea of what this game is all about. So we're going to at least take a look at it. I can't promise I'm going to be very good at it. I've only played it for about an hour so far, but at the very least you're going to see what it's like. And you can download the demo on Steam. It's available. There's just a battle generator, and then a single scenario, which is actually one of the scenarios from the Coral Sea. You can see eventually how many different scenarios there are going to be, including not only historical but also hypothetical scenarios that you can play. Midway, Operation Watchtower, which is Guadalcanal in that area. But there's also this idea of a battle generator, and that's actually what we're going to do today to make it a little bit more interesting. And in the battle generator, you can choose how many carriers you have, one or two, as well as the skill of your pilots, and the threat axis, which we're going to make random, so we have no idea where the enemy is. That'll make it a little more interesting. We're going to also give the enemy 2 carriers. Basically, we'll make things just about as even as they can get. The wind is going to be random, and that matters because you have to turn your carrier based on the wind in order to be able to launch your planes. And we'll make cloud cover clear just to make it interesting. So this is our intro. It's going to tell us exactly what's going on. We've already talked about all of this, but you are in command of Task Force 17, centered on the fleet carriers USS Yorktown and USS Lexington, currently cruising in the South Pacific with their air groups composed of 2 groups of 24 F-4F fighters, 2 groups of 40 SBD dive bombers, and those are, and then the TBD torpedo bombers, 15 on each. And we don't know what the enemy has or where he's going to come from. This should be interesting. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So let's take a look a little bit at the interface here just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. So we've got the strategic map here, which allows us to look at the overall situation. Right now we are headed just kind of southwest here, and this tells us that at 5:43 a.m. is when we're going to hit that waypoint. We can change this and say, you know what, I want to go this way, and by 7:06 I'll be there. That'll come into play more as we get into where the enemy shows up and when we start seeing his planes and things of that nature. We see our whole task force here, our 2 carriers, as well as our escort ships, destroyers, heavy cruisers, and some more destroyers. And of course we can sort that, we can organize it differently, we can kind of play with all that. I'm not going to mess with a whole lot of that here today, just because I just want to kind of show you the basics of all of this. We can look at vitals, navigation on each of our ships. We can see all kinds of things like what they have available to them. We'll get into more of that as we go along. Now we're taking a look at our fleet plot, and you can see how our fleet is laid out. Right now we've got our 2 carriers right here in the center with all of our escorts, our screens surrounding us. That's going to give us protection for anti-aircraft and things of that nature. We can, of course, choose our air ops. We can go ahead and get our fighter protection up in the air. We're going to do all of that as we go along. Create a combat air patrol zone, and you can see that you can actually set up, okay, you know what, I want one zone to be, say, over here. Maybe we think that the enemy's coming from the north, and so we're going to set up our combat air patrol that way. You know, we can mess with all of that, and we can go out further, out to 150,000 yards and see it more, and just zoom in and out. And we can choose combat air patrol from each of our different carriers. We can control the altitude that they're going to fly at, how many planes there'll be, the time between rotations, when one patrol will land and the other one will take off, all that sort of stuff. So there's just infinite possibilities with how we set all of that up. We can also look at our air plot, our elevators, our hangar that's operational, what the floor capacity is, the storage capacity is, our deck timeline. Once we start launching planes and scheduling when they're coming back in, we're going to see the timeline of those things, because you obviously can't launch planes and land planes at the same time, and you have to be refueling and rearming. You have squadrons and missions and all of this sort of stuff. There's so much to this. And then again, eventually I think we're going to be able to actually see individual pilots and what their record is and things like that. But right now we're just doing an individual mission. So we're not going to see a lot of that stuff. Here's our different squadrons: dive bombers, fighters, torpedo bombers, sorties, air combat claims, bomb hit claims. All of that will come into play as we go further into all of this. But for right now, the main thing we need to do is that we need to start launching, or at least at daylight we'll be able to launch some searches, because we've got to figure out where the enemy is. We actually don't know. So I need to schedule my combat air patrol just to have protection, but then we also need to start sending out searches. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and schedule my combat air patrol. I'm going to keep them pretty close in. You know, I think I might actually make this a little wider, just to get outside of our fleet a little bit. We're going to launch 3 from the USS Yorktown. I'm going to probably put them at I think 10,000 feet, and of course we won't be able to launch those until daylight, but we'll go ahead and get our first cap going there. We're going to create a second one with the Lexington, and we'll put them up a little higher at 13,000 feet. So we'll have both of those going. And then the next thing we need to do then is we need to start launching searches. So let's create a new air search, and you can see kind of the window that we can launch those at. So we'll launch one from the Yorktown. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And eventually we're going to need to just do more and more of these, just so we can kind of cover all of the ground. We have no idea where they're at, really. So you can see here, we can't actually see anything because it's dark at the moment, but eventually we will be able to actually look at our planes, look at our ships, and see things as they're happening in 3D. Our first missions are not going to be launched until 5:54, which is when we get to daylight. So we can see our timeline here for when these combat air patrols and our search missions are going to start launching. But until then, there's really not a lot we can do except just go ahead and fast forward quickly through our time. So we're going to go ahead and get to that time, and then you'll start to see the sun come up, and then we'll be able to actually look at, there we go. Now we can start to kind of see the moon there is just going down, and our first planes are going to start launching even before the sun comes up. So now you can see on the map we've got our search planes going out. There's our combat air patrol. We're going to get reports from our ships. We're going to get reports from our planes. Anytime there's anything of any kind of note that I need to be aware of, we're going to get a report. If an unknown plane is spotted somewhere, that's going to show up on our map, and we'll get a report about that as well. But right now, there's just nothing going on. Okay, our scouts reported enemy carrier force bearing 165, range 219 miles. So we've actually already spotted the carriers for the enemy. So we're going to actually go ahead, and I think we're in range. 2 carriers, 2 heavy cruisers, 4 destroyers have been spotted. So let's go ahead and get a strike organized. From the Yorktown, we're going to go ahead and send everything we've got. You know what, I'm not going to send all of our escorts. We're going to send half of our fighters, 9 escort fighters. But I'm going to send literally everything I can. I don't think we'll send them all just because that's going to take up a lot of, well, you know what? Send everything we've got. There we go. We're going to pick a target. There you go. Contact 9. Range 387 nautical miles. That's, I think, the whole thing round trip. So you see, this is really cool because what this does is it plots the strike based on where they anticipate the enemy's going to be at the time we get there. And then it's going to plot the return based on my current course. Obviously, that can change. But we're going to go ahead and send 57 aircraft. You can see what weapons we're going to take along with us. All right, I think we're set to go. We're going to hit green light. There we go. Then, do we go ahead and send a strike from Lexington as well? I think we go ahead and do that. So we're basically sending everything we've got because we know that this is the only enemy task force that's out there. Pick target. Contact 9. Green light. Go. Now, in the event that he spots me, of course, I can scramble my remaining fighters to be able to deal with them. So it looks like we've spotted an enemy. I'm guessing this is a scout, which means he's got a good chance he's going to go ahead and locate us now too. So let's go ahead and go to our combat air patrol that's already on pursuit of him. That's contact 4. And see if we can get a view of what's going on. Okay, so according to a message we intercepted, Task Force 17 has been detected by an enemy air search asset. So that means he knows where we are now, and he's no doubt going to be sending his own strike force. So I think we need to go ahead and move our ships. We're gonna change the direction that we go here and see if we can't try to fool him a little bit anyway. We're going to add a waypoint right here. Start heading in that direction. Okay, this is what I was afraid of. We have spotted an enemy strike force, 20 plus aircraft. We're just now getting our own strike force headed that way, which means they're probably going to interact with them, and hopefully some of our protection for them, the fighters will interact with him and take some of them down. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and scramble the rest of our fighters so that we've got the maximum amount of protection available to us when the enemy gets here. It's going to get really interesting now. So as things get a little closer, we'll go ahead and zoom into our aircraft and see what happens with all of this. Because there's definitely going to be some fighting going on. Tally-ho, getting in position for a firing pass. This is leader. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to our air teams, and we can obviously look at all of these. Let's look at our escorts. That's not who we want in this case. So here you go. We're looking in from up above at some of our planes as they're flying in formation. We can follow them, we can zoom in, we can get in behind them, we can do all kinds of fun stuff here. We can also look at this strategic map that gives us a little better idea of what we're dealing with. And if we zoom out, we can see where the enemy is. Actually, I think I've lost them. Okay, interesting. So it looks like our planes are flying right past theirs, and they're not making contact, which is fine with me. We'll let our guys go to their target, and then our scrambled fighters are going to be the ones that deal with the enemy as they come in. Hopefully we hit them before they get anywhere close. Air defense stations manned, USS Yorktown says. I don't know if Lexington, let's go ahead and scramble fighters from the Lexington as well. We didn't do that previously. He's heading south. He actually doesn't know where we are because we've moved. So maybe we'll get lucky and he won't spot us. Okay, we're following our scrambled fighters as they engage the target. Of course, the target is a big one because it's the strike team that has not yet spotted our fleet. So hopefully that's good news. But in the meantime, hopefully we can take some of his out without him spotting where we are. Target is now Vector 250, 40 miles Angels High. Let's go ahead and take a look at our strategic map here. You can see here's our carrier. So his strike team is nowhere near us. Now it looks like we just spotted 20 more aircraft, so that's a second part to his strike team. Still heading in the wrong direction. Hopefully our strike team has better luck than his. Well, let's go ahead and see. Here we go. Engaging target. Oh, we got to slow down a little bit here. All right, looks like we shot down at least one plane. Beautiful. So far, so good. There's the big whole enemy strike force there. Oh, I don't know why they're diving down like that. That seems like less than ideal. Looks like another enemy plane going down. Beautiful. Oh, we're being shot at. So I want to see if there's any kind of report that we can get here about what's happening and how many enemies we're taking out. All right. Oh. Take him out. Take him out. This is where it gets fun. You just you've made all your plans, you've given your orders, now you just watch as they get executed. What's he doing? Is he going down? Oh, he did go down. Oh, splash another Japanese fighter. We can just switch between all these planes and just see what's happening. We don't, however, get real-time reports. Obviously, these guys are in the middle of a dogfight. They're not worried about reporting whether or not they splashed individual targets. We'll get that eventually, though. Okay, in the meantime, have we spotted the enemy carriers? We have not. Right now we're just dealing with taking out enemy aircraft. Okay, so our strike force also did not have any success in locating the enemy, so we're starting to recover our planes. You can see them going down on the elevator where they're going to get refueled and refit. And as soon as we are able to get our search planes out and relocate the enemy, we're going to go ahead and send our strike forces back out again, see if we can't have better luck the second time around. But we're still recovering those planes. I'm heading in the general direction to where we last spotted the enemy, which was an hour and a half ago. Okay, we've got him spotted. Again, he's still heading in roughly the same direction. So I think we're going to go ahead and try to launch another strike. I don't have a lot in the way of escorts at the moment that I can launch with them. We had all of our planes scrambled previously, so this is mostly going to be dive bombers that we're going to be sending out. So let's go ahead and pick a target. We're going to hope that he keeps going in that same direction. Let's go ahead and green light those dive bombers. I think we'll hold off a little bit on launching the second strike. Alright, our strike package is on the way. Let's just hope he has not changed course. And then we're going to actually, once we're finished launching our planes, we're going to go ahead and start heading that same direction. Going to hope we get lucky and spot these guys. Of course, you can see our planes are disappearing, which means we're not going to have contact with them unless they report something, and then they'll show back up again. But we got strike packages from both carriers headed in that direction. Let's just cross our fingers and hope he's out there. Well, our strike force came back without anything to show for it, and now we just spotted him. We've at least spotted something anyway. It's 209 nautical miles away though, so we're just not in a place where we're really able to do a whole lot at the moment. So one of the cool things here while we're waiting to try and find the enemy again is that we can go back and look at all of the missions that we launched. So for example, here was our naval strike with 57 planes that took off at 8:06 and returned at 11:08. We can look at the mission log. It looks like we had one MIA among our fighters. We had 6 fighters that were damaged in that mission. Here's our action report, enemy air activity, and we can see the different kinds of planes that we encountered. We actually took out 6 of the enemy, actually 8 enemy planes total. You can see the ammunition that was expended in the process, and we can see that for each of our different missions. Here was our scramble mission. So they scrambled when we saw the enemy coming. We had 6 of those that were damaged and 3 that were missing. So all 9 of those planes actually were hit at some way or another. But we, in the process, holy cow, wow, destroyed. Did we really destroy 68 enemy planes? My goodness, so we really pretty much wiped him out. He shouldn't have that much in the way of ability to take me out. So I can be a little more aggressive now if that's the case. Wow, okay. Let's look at our other missions for a second here. Here's our second naval strike. I don't think we did much of anything. No, we didn't encounter the enemy at all in that case. All right, cool. Okay, good news. It's day 2, and we spotted the enemy task force, or at least part of it. We've got 2 large ships, 2 small ships at the very least. We've sent everything we've got from both carriers, and it looks like we are gonna intercept them this time. So let's wait and see what happens. Oh yeah, we've got them because we are headed right in that direction. Now we've got at least 7 ships. So let's hope that we can actually get some hits. Alright, so I'm looking at some of the enemy ships. It looks like they're already firing anti-aircraft fire, so that obviously means that we are getting in on the target. Looks like we got an enemy battleship here, a heavy cruiser. I haven't seen the enemy carriers yet, so I don't know if we're able to actually get in on those guys. Which naval strike is even actually attacking at the moment? Because I don't really know. Oh, there's one of the enemy carriers there, I think. Yep, there it is. Okay, cool. He's firing anti-aircraft fire. Where are my planes? And who's actually in the process of attacking these guys? I can't actually see it. Alright, we're going to follow some of our dive bombers in here. You can see a bunch of the enemy ships. Hopefully we spot the carriers and we can actually go after them. See the enemy ships starting to turn now. Is that one of the carriers right there? It looks like. Hopefully we get at him. Come on, baby. Oh, that's not a carrier. There's a carrier, though, right in front of us. It looks like we've already hit it. There's smoke coming from that carrier. Oh, I think we're evading. You can see the carriers going in circles. Come on, baby. What are we waiting on here? Looks like they turned around. Oh, now they're coming back around to make an attack run. Come on, baby. Get at them. Are we going to dive? I don't know what this guy's doing. There he goes. No, he's just circling around. That's strange. Alright, let's get at it. Oh, yeah! We're definitely getting some hits on this carrier, though. And it looks like we just landed a hit on the other carrier, too. I just wish it was a little easier to follow what was going on. Okay, you can see the anti-aircraft fire coming from this carrier. Oh, diving on target. Here we go. Beautiful. Hit him. Ah, they missed. Darn it. See if anybody lands a hit. Boom, boom. Nope. Everybody missed. Ah. I mean, we've got one hit so far on this carrier. We've got several hits on the other carrier. We can see both of them from here. Anybody else in the process of diving on the target? A lot of anti-aircraft fire going on here. Let's go take a look at the other one again. Beautiful. So looking at all of my formations, it looks like quite a few of my planes did ditch, so they're obviously taking some casualties. But it looks like we've got some more planes coming in. So let's see what happens with those. Just trying to look up. It's not really easy to figure it out sometimes how to do the camera angles to be able to see what's going on. But we definitely have some more planes coming in on target. So let's hope we can get a hit. There we go. Somebody's engaging target. That's the Shokaku. Or they're both Shokaku, at least showing up that way. Come on, let's get another hit. Ah, more misses. Oh, we did get another hit. Nice. But it looks like pretty much everybody missed. There's another hit. So we got a third hit on that one. Let's go back and look at the other guy. He's got fires going still. So we're obviously winning. The question is, are we doing enough to sink either of these guys? All right, our formations are coming back in. We're going to let them go ahead and all land, and then we're going to take a look at the reports and see what we're actually finding out, because we don't get to just see it happen like in a video game. We actually have to look at the reports of our pilots as they land and see what the actual details are of the success of the mission. All right, so here's one of our strike forces. This is the one from the USS Yorktown. We had 19 enemy Zeros that we were taking on. We took out 6 of them, so that's a good bit of his fighter cover. We hit one carrier with 5 bombs and another carrier with 3 bombs. Did we lose anything? So, okay, yeah, we lost quite a few. We lost 15 SBDs MIA, along with another 4 there. 5 fighters MIA. 1 confirmed killed in action. All right, so we did take some losses for sure. That's from the Yorktown. What about the strike force? Oh, that's also Yorktown. That was earlier. Okay, so are we still waiting on Lexington's strike force to return? I think we might be. All right, looks like Lexington still has most of its capabilities intact. Most of our losses came from the Yorktown. So we're going to launch everything we've got from Lexington. See if we can't finish these guys off. Wait, why is it saying 1,800 nautical miles? That's not right. That's really strange. All right, we're going to go there. See if we can get a hit. Why isn't it giving me the option to do this? And that's really strange. All right, so he got away. Strategic defeat, tactical victory. And that's because we didn't achieve the goal, which was, of course, to sink the enemy ships. So it looks like we destroyed a couple of enemy ships, but not the carriers. We damaged the Shokaku and the Zuikaku. We sank the Oshio and the Asasio. We destroyed 35 Zeros along with 37 B5N2s. I don't know which ones those are, which ones are dive bombers, which ones are torpedo bombers. And we only lost 38 planes. So really we did quite well, considering we just didn't complete the objective. So, but that at least gives you an idea of what this game is like. Obviously, this is just a demo. We're only able to play just a small amount of what this has to offer. There's going to be so much more to this game when it comes out. But if you have any questions about it, let me know in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer those for you. Check out the demo for yourself on Steam. And we'll be back tomorrow with some more NCAA 25 football as we continue the career mode. So thanks for watching.